Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, I've spent a whole month in Dubai at one of the most exclusive apartments in downtown. Just check out the beautiful views of the Burj, the tallest building in the world. You'll also see the amazing fountains, the famous fountains down there with the music playing. I've actually been trading, I've got my full setup, I've got an amazing apartment tour coming for you. But more importantly, as some of you know, I'm actually considering living here and actually moving here. And I'm gonna give you some of the pros and cons of Dubai versus London where I live, and then at the end I'm going to let you know my decision, and some of it might surprise you. So let's go. So first things first, as promised, we're going to do an apartment tour, and you'll be surprised where you'll find my day trading office. It's through that brick wall. Let's go. Okay, so first things first, and what you've all been desperate to see, the day trading office, the most important room in the apartment. I've dedicated an entire room to that. Absolutely stunning views. You can see probably one of the best views of any day trading office in the world, looking straight out into the Burj, almost touching distance. Now it may surprise you, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret, because you know this is the only channel where we keep trading real. Most people will tell you all that stuff matters, and you know, having a nice view makes a difference to your trading. I'm going to be honest with you, diddly squat. It's actually quite annoying, especially at night. The first week I had it facing the cupboard. I had it here for the last 2-3 weeks just to give it a little bit of a mix and try both. But I'll definitely be moving the back towards the cupboards. So that's the day trading office. Let's head over into the main part of the apartment, the living room and the kitchen. And one of the reasons it's one of the most exclusive apartments, not only in downtown, but probably the whole of Dubai, is because every single window, floor to ceiling, with direct views of the Burj Khalifa and the fountains. You will not find any better views in the whole of Dubai. I'll let James, my cameraman, give you a full tour outside of the windows. One of the final bits to show you is the master bedroom. Absolutely stunning with the headboard, waking up every single morning, looking at the Burj Khalifa and the fountains. Floor to ceiling windows again, a really nice way to wake up and start the day. So this is the bedroom balcony that we've just walked into, all glass again. You can actually see the living room from here. And actually, if you look down there, that's the Dubai Mall. It's the biggest mall in the world. I think it's around 13 or 14 million square feet. I'll let you in on a little secret. I know that mall like the back of my hand, all 4 floors. I could tell you where any shop is, but I haven't bought a single item, okay? I've only been there for the food court and obviously to go down to the fountains, and there's actually an air-conditioned bridge that connects this apartment directly into the mall. But between you and me, I actually think a lot of the shops are there for mugs, all right? Everything's like 20% more expensive. I've always thought, you know, if you're gonna be a day trader or a trader, you need to have some sort of perception of value for money, okay? And for me, spending that much money on designer stuff, it doesn't make any sense to me. I know people do it, and that's fine. I just think, if you're going to be a good trader, you really need to have value for what money is and what you're getting for your money, and it's just not worth it for me. It doesn't make any sense for me, so I don't do it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the apartment tour there, but now we're going to get down to the more serious matters. You're about to see probably the most honest and real comparison of Dubai versus other cities, in my case London. Before we do that, just remember what I said there as we were walking around, in particular the office. Did you notice I had my full setup, a couple of screens? I see a lot of people saying trading can be done from a mobile phone and it's easy whilst you're traveling. Absolutely not the case. You've got to be very careful about what people are telling you. Trading is a serious business. You see I've got my full setup here. You can't trade on your mobile phone. That's completely unrealistic. And then finally, I'm going to be very honest about this. All of this that you see here, yeah, it's one of the nicest apartments probably in Dubai, let alone downtown. It's totally unnecessary, okay? I cheated a little bit. I'm trying to convince my wife to move over here, so I got something like this. But the reality is, even for my wife and myself, it's totally over the top. It's unnecessary. I'm going to look at something a little bit less distracting. When you're working, does it really matter what you're looking at? If anything, looking at that all day can be quite distracting. So that's something I just wanted to say, because I didn't want to mislead anyone and think that you necessarily need all of this to move down here. You don't. It's a nice to have. Now let's get into a proper comparison. As I said, I hear a lot of people when they come to Dubai, they say it's unbelievable, and I think they're really disrespectful to the place that they're coming from. Most of the time it's their home country, so they'll say things like Dubai is unbelievable and I've realized how bad London is or the UK is now that I'm here. That's completely ridiculous, okay? They both have their pros and cons. So I'm going to go through a few categories. We'll get there very quickly, and I'm going to give you my full score at the end and let you know what I've decided. So first category, cleanliness. Everyone talks about how clean Dubai is. I've been here for 1 month, so this comparison I'm going to do is probably the best one you're going to get, because I've actually spent a significant period of time here now, and obviously many years in London. Yes, it's true. The place is unbelievably clean. I can't go anywhere without someone coming 2 minutes later and just cleaning up. It's brilliant. I love it. I do think, as you'll see with most things, it's over-exaggerated, okay? London's perfectly clean and it's acceptable. And I find it quite, again, disrespectful when people say it's dirty there and it's super clean here. It is super clean here, but London's perfectly fine as well. I would give the mark definitely to Dubai. They've done an amazing job and I love that about it. So 1-0 to Dubai. Now, where I think London or the UK or many other countries do excel is the natural terrain. Right? And I know most people will agree with me on this if they're being honest with themselves. Back in London, especially the wider area, so just outside the suburbs, the terrain is just beautiful. The trees, the natural beauty, the amount of green that you have, I absolutely love it, and it's definitely something I would miss if I came over here. In a funny way, it combines with the weather. In Dubai, the weather is beautiful. Yeah, you hardly get any rain, but that can be a blessing and a curse. You know, you really can't enjoy going outside, going for walks, because it's so hot and it becomes uncomfortable after about 20 minutes. I mean, it's doable, but it's not as nice as being in London or the UK. So I'd definitely give that mark to London. To be fair to Dubai, obviously it's a desert. A lot of the infrastructure is quite new. It's only been around for, you know, the last 60, 70, 80, 100 years it's been developing. So it's relatively new compared to obviously the UK. So 1-1 on that front. Crime. Everyone talks about crime and the lack of it when you come to Dubai. And that's definitely something I've experienced. It's been amazing. I haven't even locked my apartment door for 4 weeks. Even when I've been away for 2-3 days at a time, I haven't locked anything, and it's definitely felt extremely safe. If I compare that to the UK, again, I do think people over exaggerate it, okay? I've never really had, especially in the last 10, 20 years in the UK, any problems with crime. I actually grew up in an area where the crime rate is extremely high, but all we did was move. My family moved us eventually, and anyone can do that. Having said that, Dubai, throughout the whole area, and probably the United Arab Emirates as a whole, crime is just particularly under control. So definitely would give that, if I had to pick one, to Dubai, but I gave the caveats there. Next category, the people. The people here are wonderful, very welcoming, not had any problems with anyone. You do get a much more bigger mix, because obviously it does attract a lot of expats, so you will get a lot of people that aren't necessarily originally from Dubai, but everyone's really, really friendly. Having said that, I also think that it's over exaggerated, because people back in London and the UK are equally wonderful. Everyone's great, everyone's welcoming. I've never had any issues in particular. I'll give it 1 each. The culture. Now this may surprise you, but I'm actually going to give this to London or the UK, and I'm going to make it 3-all. It does lack a bit of culture. I'm not saying this can't change in the future. The place does lack a little bit of identity. What I mean by that is there's just people from everywhere, right? And even myself, you could consider me a foreigner coming to Dubai, but there's lots of people like me. So you don't tend to meet as many locals in the commercial areas. The marina is the worst for that. You won't really see that many locals. Downtown's great because you get a bit more of a mix. I have been to old Dubai, and that's wonderful, obviously much more locals. If I come to a country, I want to see a lot of locals. It gives it an identity. When I go to London, I know I'm in London, right? When I'm in the UK, you know you're in the UK. So it has that real strong identity to it. For now, I'd give that to London. So at the moment, 3-all. The language, and what I mean by language, or I'm definitely going to give this to Dubai, is, and I don't know the politest way of saying this, gang culture. I've found to be something I'm really not enjoying seeing evolve in London, right? And I hear a lot of kids, they talk in this sort of gang culture way. You know, I don't offend anyone who is in a gang or gang culture or whatever, but this sort of way that I hear children and youngsters talking now back in London and the UK, it's really not very nice. I just don't see any of that in Dubai. 4-3. You can see a lot of these topics are quite sensitive, so I'm trying to be quite careful about what I say, because I don't want to come across as if I'm offending anyone. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. Infrastructure. The infrastructure, need I say more? The tallest building in the world is right here, a few feet away from my window. His Royal Highness Sheikh Al Maktoum and his family have done an amazing job of really turning this place from a desert into, you know, one of the most attractive places in terms of bringing business or even for tourism, because obviously they've lacked probably as much oil revenue as some of the other Emirates have had. But having said all that, you're surprised to hear me say this, but the United Kingdom has some of the best infrastructure in the world. Not only beautiful to look at because some of the buildings are a lot older and more cultural because they've obviously been around for several hundred years, and you have a lot of historical buildings, chapels, a lot of that which you don't have here. So really, I would say equal to both. Both of them have amazing things and deserve credit in terms of the infrastructure. Definitely positive on both sides. So 5-4 to Dubai so far. The food is amazing here, but equally the food's amazing back home in London or the UK. Totally ridiculous to say that the food is better in one place or another. It's great in both places, multicultural, whatever you want to get, you can get it here, but you can get it in London or the UK as well. I do love Middle Eastern food, it's a favourite of mine, so definitely my heart is being drawn towards staying here for that reason. But saying that, I get great Middle Eastern food back in London or the UK as well. So 1-1 there on that front. So 6-5 so far to Dubai. We're getting there, the last couple of categories. Housing, right, a big one. Cost of living. Now the cost of living is about the same in both, okay? There'll be certain things that are a little bit cheaper here in Dubai, like I have found, I like a Coke Zero or Diet Coke, and it is cheaper here. But then things like protein bars and, you know, certain things are a little bit more expensive here because they have to import certain products. So I would say overall, if you had a basket, a broad range of items, it's probably about the same, which surprised me because everyone said to me that Dubai was a lot more expensive in terms of foods. And I think because inflation has driven up the cost of goods everywhere around the world, and the UK has been hit pretty hard, you know, 10% inflation over the last year. I found the cost of living to be about the same. Eating out here is very reasonable. The reason I'm actually going to give it to London, housing. I've actually found housing very reasonable here if you're buying a place, because I don't want to buy a place here immediately. I'll probably end up buying a place here in a year's time. I'm going to rent for the first year, but I've just found rental to be totally unreasonable. The rental yield here is above 10%. It's extortionate. And then on top of that, they expect you to pay in one check and, you know, one upfront. And I've just found it to be completely unreasonable compared to London, where London is expensive to rent as well. I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but comparatively, I think that's one thing I found Dubai to be quite expensive on, is housing costs. Even though it's something I'm willing to accept, probably would definitely give that to London. 6-all so far. Final category, right, are to do with business. Banking. Banking, I found it to be very safe. But having said that, I've never had any problems in the UK either. So the UK banking infrastructure is some of the best in the world. Again, 1-all probably. So far, 7-all. That leaves me to my final decision. So you may be saying to yourself, Envy, why are you going to move your entire life over to Dubai? Well, it's the final category, the cost of doing business. I'm going to give it 3-0 to Dubai. Okay, in the end, I'm giving 10 points overall to Dubai, 7 to the UK or London. So 7-all up until this category. You can't even compare it. I don't know why the cost of doing business in Europe as a whole has started to become extremely prohibitive. I don't know why that is. I kind of do. Obviously they don't have the natural resources that Dubai does, and also the tourism here is obviously taken off. Business just seems to be so much cheaper and more attractive to do here. So for that reason alone, I am going to be more than likely moving here permanently. I've tried to be much more honest about the whole situation, and I think when you exclude the business reasons, I think both countries are absolutely beautiful. Dubai has its, you know, major positives, but London also has its major positives, right? Purely when it comes down to the cost of doing business, that is a major reason why I'm slightly swung over and I will be moving here. And, you know, really want to thank not only Dubai, but the whole of the UAE government, because they've made it so easy for me to obtain my residency card to move. It's just been great. So hopefully you found that useful. I can't wait to do more videos from here once I finally am permanently here. I'll see you on the other side with a trading video next.